Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about our General Legal Studies program. You're joining Tulane University School of Professional Advancement. And so today we're going to cover a little bit about who we are, what we offer in the General Legal Studies program, how we support that student success, the difficult piece being the application process. And then we'll have a little bit of time at the end where we'll talk about tuition and financial aid, and then we'll move into that Q&A portion. We're going to be joined here by Miss Robin Ice. Robin, could you please tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you joined. I am a former lawyer. I'm director of the program and a professor of practice. I teach the practicum in the program. Uh, Very happy to be working with so many great students here at Tulane. We serve students who are retooling, students who are coming for their bachelor's, and students who are interested in law school, and some who are all three. So welcome to our webinar.
Thank you, Robin. My name is Christopher Lloyd. I'm an admissions associate here at Tulane SOPA. So when you're in the application process or when you're evaluating your options, I'm going to be that primary point of contact for you. So if anything comes up either during this webinar where you want to make sure we talk about it, use that Q&A or chat portion. And if something comes up after, I'm going to be the best point of contact to help guide you through the application process, help connect you to the right parties if you have those sort of questions where we need to elevate it to the next level. And then we'll be able to help you out with an application fee waiver today for joining us. So stay tuned to the end where we'll share that and how to actually do that application process. So to start, we'll talk a little bit about what's the history of Tulane SOPA. So we were founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana, and that's where Tulane University first started offering courses. Our continuing education courses, which eventually became the School of Professional Advancement, were started in 1886. So if you're looking back at it from here, you've got a pretty long timeline where we demonstrated a commitment to our adult learners. And for about 130 years, we've been offering courses to people within the community, as well as to people who are trying to improve their professional skills, or maybe go back to school and get that degree that they didn't get to tackle the first time around. So we were initially started as a way to bring in those people in the community, and we've tried to keep that same sort of mission going. In April 2017, we relaunched our name and went from being the School of Professional Advancement, we became the School of Professional Advancement. Those of you in the New Orleans area, you might have known us as the School of Continuing Studies or even University College if you've been around the New Orleans area for a bit. When we relaunched, we rebranded so that we could try to focus on what are those core elements of our offerings. And when I talk about that, we're talking about how we can actually walk out of here with credentials, with degrees, with those skills that are going to connect you to that professional growth or to that new career pathway. So right now we offer 9 bachelor's degree programs, and you have 8 distinct programs of study, but these numbers are actually growing. So while you might have only 9 bachelor's degree programs right now, during your time at SOPA, you might find that the program offerings grow and you have the opportunity to take on either other coursework or move into another field. Many of our courses are going to have an online component or where you can choose to take that online part. So with the bachelor's level degrees, you're going to be taking some of the courses on campus. So you'll need to be either in the New Orleans area or have the ability to come in and take some of those courses. The bachelor's degrees aren't fully online yet, but for those of you who look at either certificate programs, master's degrees, some of those related program tracks, then that's where you're looking at where you may have a fully online coursework. So if you're a working adult, if you're someone who's outside of the New Orleans area and you want to be able to make use of some of these courses and some of the skill development, then that's where that online component is going to be really useful for you. But if you're someone where you want that kind of tactile interaction, you want to be in the classroom, then you can also set it up to where the vast majority of your coursework will be in person, either at our Elmwood campus out here in Harahan or at the main campus over on St. Charles. Our classes are typically going to be evening. So a standard class is going to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, somewhere in that 5-day work week where you'll take your class at 6 p.m. until about 8:50 p.m. Sometimes there may be a daytime course, or you might even have that Saturday course. So if you're someone where you have a lot of obligations that make it to where you can't take those evening or daytime courses, That Saturday course where you meet once to about 3 p.m. or so, that's where it's going to be the sort of coursework you want to look at, to where you can maximize your return, but put it on your schedule. Matt, if we could flip forward to the next one. So, Robin, could you tell us a little bit more about the General Legal Studies program?
Gladly. Our General Legal Studies program is, first of all, it's approved by ABA. And what does this mean? It's for you, it means that employers in our area and around the country know that because we adhere to ABA approval standards, we have a rigorous program. We offer courses that are going to give you practical experience and substantive knowledge. And we are subject to their rigid requirements for quality control. We are visited by ABA every 7 years, and we submit reports in the interim to ensure that we're meeting our quality standards. We have been approved by ABA for over 30 years, so we're one of the pioneers in this area and certainly in Louisiana. But what do we offer? These are the programs of study that you can follow in the General Legal Studies program, depending upon where you stand academically. We offer a Bachelor of Arts in General Legal Studies, which comes on completion with a paralegal certificate. Now, why do I say the paralegal certificate is included? That's because in this area and in many parts of the country, the paralegal certificate is the credential that employers are seeking to hire you, to indicate that you have completed all of the paralegal skills courses and substantive law courses necessary to prepare you for the profession. So our General Legal Studies major, the Bachelor, requires completion of 120 credits. The Post-Baccalaureate certificate is a 27 credit, 9 class, sort of retooling program, if you will, and it is for students who have already completed a bachelor's degree at a regionally accredited school. Doesn't matter what area you were in or what subject matter you majored in if you completed that bachelor's degree. And we also have a General Legal Studies minor, which is 18 credits, not approved by ABA, but is good substantive law sort of basis if you're majoring in another area. Let's talk a little bit about the Bachelor of Arts. It is, as I mentioned, 120 credits. Of these, 36 credits are General Legal Studies program courses. So your major has 36 credits. We do offer online options, but because of our ABA requirements, our program is not entirely online. It cannot be completed entirely online. I want to stress that. But we do have online options. The proviso is that you must complete at least 4 classes live. And that is true for the bachelor's program or the post-baccalaureate certificate. Now, of these 6 core skills courses, say that quickly 7 times, are all offered every semester. They are offered sometimes live and sometimes in online format so that you can have some options, but also fulfill the ABA 4 live class requirement. English 1010 is a prerequisite for everything in our program and for most of the SOPA courses as well. And if you want to minor in another field, yes, you can. You have many choices here at SOPA if you want to choose a minor. It's not required, but sometimes it adds valuable skills to your toolbox. The post-baccalaureate certificate, as I mentioned, is ideal for students who have already completed a bachelor's degree in another subject area. It's a really wonderful way to retool because you can complete it in 2 to 3 semesters, depending upon the course load you choose to take. You can take a longer time if you wish, but many of our students choose to complete it in about a year. It includes 9 General Legal Studies courses, so you're not taking any other general ed courses because we assume you've completed those already in your bachelor's degree. 6 core paralegal skills courses and 2 4,000 level electives, which is the area where you can find your substantive law courses. We offer a range of those, which you will take in either the undergraduate degrees or the post-bac degree. And these range from admiralty law to family law, administrative, workers' comp, medical malpractice. We have many choices to pique your interest and also to give you substantive knowledge in areas where we know that you can find employment. And at the end of the course is the practicum. In the final or sometimes in the next to final semester, our students take the practicum, which is an internship in a law office. And we work with numerous law firms around the area. So we have a great pool of internship firms to which we can help you get assigned. It works out very well, and our students have the opportunity to learn what a law office is like, what the work entails, and to get acquainted with the type of people who work in law firms. It's a really good opportunity. And I will say that many of our students find that by the time they reach that final semester, they're actually able to waive the internship because sometimes they find employment in law offices even before they complete our program, which is wonderful for them. And let's talk a little bit about our minor. This is not ABA approved, and it's not intended to prepare you to become a paralegal. It's 18 credits, which is 6 classes. You can complete this one entirely online because it is not subject to ABA requirements. It works with any of the SOPA majors. So you can major in IT and have a minor in general legal studies or in health sciences, kinesiology, homeland security. It works well with many of our other majors. So that's why we're offering it. It also works well for students who are wanting to dip a toe into the water. So, maybe I shouldn't say that since we just completed the Barry hurricane, but students who are interested in finding out what the legal profession is like without diving in too deeply. So it's a great minor for that. So what can you do with a career in legal studies? Well, there are a lot of things. You can, of course, become a paralegal, and that is the reason for the offering of the paralegal certificate. But the knowledge that you gain in our program is helpful also if you happen to be an office manager, if you work in human resources, if you work in one of the courts. Many of our students are court clerks, are employed in the parishes around the region. We have some students who have completed our program who are private investigators or investigators for other organizations. Many of our students also join us because they're contract administrators with companies around the region. We've had several students complete the program who have worked for some of the agencies and larger companies in the New Orleans area. And of course, this is a great background for insurance adjusters. It provides you with the legal knowledge, the organizational skills, and many of the tools that you need to work in that profession. So, yeah, and it also prepares you for law school, which is our next slide. If you happen to be interested in going to law school and are wanting to find out more about substantive law and about necessary legal skills before you move on to that area of your education, the General Legal Studies degree programs will provide you with a great background. Our classes include Intro to the Legal System, Legal Research, Legal Writing, Litigation, Computer Systems that are used in law firms, our Legal Technology course, and of course, as I mentioned, several areas of substantive law that you might find interesting. And of course, the practicum provides you with hands-on opportunities to work in a law firm and find out how that world really works.
Robin, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think Robin's experience and her content knowledge there is really unique. A lot of programs, you don't necessarily get that kind of interaction with people who have that deep field experience where they've been able to practice in the field for a long time and then also come into the world of academia and be able to translate that to you. So I think it's really great that we had Robin here to talk through that and share that with you. So thank you again, Robin. I wanted to share a little bit about our student support and success. So the ways that we actually make sure that our students stay on track and how we provide those support services while you're here. One of those key ways that we really make sure that our students have access to the sort of support they need is setting up regular meetings with their academic advisors. We have a lot of students here who are either doing telecommuting or traveling from within the region. And so being able to make an appointment and having the flexibility to either carry out the appointment online or by telephone or in person is a really huge benefit. So if you're one of those students where you're outside of the New Orleans area and you wonder about what sort of access you would have, your academic advisors are going to be available to you via the phone, via that Zoom teleconferencing app. So what you're watching this on right now, or in person if you're in the Harahan area or you're at our Uptown campus. And there, they'll go through those things like the degree audit with you. When you're coming in as a new student, if you're a transfer student, they'll be able to help you plan your coursework. Those advisors are really going to be that unique catalyst for you to where you get that opportunity to have someone who works closely with you, reviews your current student standing, and helps you plan for those next steps. And our advisors here have, I don't want to say an open door policy, but they make themselves available in ways that I didn't have when I was a student. For me personally, when I was a student, I had a lot of trouble getting through to my academic advisors, having to schedule several weeks out or having really short phone calls. So for me, seeing this where our students are given an opportunity to engage either through the best medium for them or, being able to not really have to worry about scheduling weeks out, I think that's a really great benefit. Another way that we try to help our students here is through our credits for prior learning. So if you're someone where you're in the field, where you're already working in the legal studies field, you're working in somewhere where you're doing sort of either paralegal work, where you're doing that in-law office work through the court, something where you may have significant professional experience, those things can be used to offset some of your coursework. So if you've been working in a law office for the past 10 years, you've done extensive work there, you have some of those skills that you're developing through this coursework, then that's where you go into our portfolio class. The portfolio classes at the undergraduate level are going to cap out at 20 credits, but that's 26 credits that can help to accelerate your time in school. So if you're someone who's going for that full course load of 12 or 14 credits in the semester, then that's where you're knocking out 2 semesters right there if you get that full 26 credits. Now, not everyone is going to full 26 credits. It's really going to be dependent on whether or not you actually have the skills and the experience to be able to claim all of those to the portfolio class. But at the undergraduate level, it's an extreme help because generally what we see is the people who are going back to school and going into these fields where they have experience, they're able to translate some of that into credits. Another piece that I think is really important and that we touched on earlier when we were talking about Robin's experience is we have expert faculty who have that real world experience. So some of your faculty that you're taking coursework from, they may be people who, when they finish that course and then they go in the morning, they're going to a different job where they are practicing law, where they are working in these related fields. So you'll have that benefit of you have people who have that academic experience and can help you to develop those skills, to also where they have those connections in the field and can help you understand the lay of the land, help you figure out what's the path forward for me, what are my next steps, what are the sort of coursework that I should concentrate on if I have a plan in mind, and how can I execute it. So in some ways, those faculty are giving you the benefit of their experience in the way that an academic advisor might work with you. Another piece that is really important, and I haven't seen many other schools that really offer this in the depth that we do, is career advising. Miss Cynthia Washington over here, she's based at our Elmwood campus. She meets with students daily to help them figure out what's my next step. You walk in, you meet with Cynthia, and you walk out with actionable items that help you move your career forward. She can help you with crafting your resume, updating your resume, helping to translate the experience and the skills you developed while you were in school into something that employers see and can recognize. So she helps you to take that package that you've put together and put that nice bow on it. So when you go out into the field, you're showing someone, This is what I can do, and here's a great example of it. And beyond that, she can connect you to internships. She can connect you with employers. She works tirelessly to try to get connections with our large corporations, with the city, with all these elements in the city that do hiring and that hire Tulane SOPA graduates. So when you get into SOPA, you can start that process with her where you can go and work on your resume so that when you walk out with that degree, you've got that updated resume and she's helping to direct you on a really concentrated job search. And part of that concentrated job search is leaning on that network of Tulane alumni. So that's what Cynthia is going to help connect you to. She's going to connect you to all these people who are in our world. Either if they're not Tulane alumni, they're Tulane supporters. They're people who understand the work that our graduates do and understand how we can sort of translate our work into that vision that you carry out. So I think the next part is talking about that logistical piece. How do you apply? Our application is entirely online. So if you go to sopa.tulane.edu, that's sopa.tulane.edu, you're going to see this big green apply button towards the top. That's where you'll start your journey. The admission fee is typically $40 for undergraduate and $50 for graduate. But because you joined us today on your lunch break and you're giving us that little bit of time to learn more about our program, we'll waive your application fee. So I'm going to share in the chat at the end the code that you can put in, but you can also follow up with me directly to make sure you get that applied. And what you'll need to do from there is you'll fill out about your academic history, tell us those basic demographic details about you so that we know who you are, and then you'll include a picture of your government issued ID so that you're telling us this is me and I'm submitting it. And then from there, you start working to get those transcripts together. So if you're coming out of high school, then that's where we'll need your high school transcript, your proof of graduation, something that shows us that you've at least risen to that level of being able to take undergraduate coursework. And if you're a transfer student, then that's where we'll need official final transcripts from all of the schools that you've attended. So for some of you, that may be quite a few schools due to moving around, due to being in the military, things like that. And that's where we'll work with you if you have your conditional or your unofficial student transcripts, and we can use those for a conditional review to at least get you moving along, get you some progress in this rather than waiting for that official transcript to arrive. And then once we do have those official transcripts, we can convert it to a full admission. But otherwise, you're going to send those electronic transcripts to us at soparecords@tulane.edu. And that tends to be a pretty short timeline. So if you're worried about bumping up against application deadlines, if your school has those electronic transcripts, that's a really quick way to accelerate your review process, get that decision sooner. And then if you happen to have that unopened hard copy of your official transcript, or if the school is going to issue it and send it to us, that can be delivered to our office in Harahan at 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100. And the zip code for that is 70123. So you can find that on our website within the application. You can also reach out to me and we can make sure we get those transcripts sent to the right place. Now, for the other piece that really matters, those application deadlines. So right now, we are 1 month out from the undergraduate deadline for fall. So you've still got time. If you're completing summer courses or maybe you're just evaluating, trying to figure out that next step, you still have just about 30 days to get everything in. If you get the application submitted in full and you've got those transcripts either ordered or you've given us those unofficial transcripts, we can still work with you to make sure we get you in during that first week of classes. Whereas graduate, we're going to have a bit of a harder deadline with August 1st. With August 1st, you're going to need to make sure you're getting us pretty much everything in full around that timeline. Robin and our program directors for other programs, as well as I, will need that time in order to evaluate and see how have you done your coursework? Are you ready for these classes? And then the academic advisors would also be able to help you plan your course schedule. So that's where it's really important to give yourself enough lead time, because that graduate level, it's going to be a bit more nuanced. There's going to be a couple of other pieces that you wouldn't really be worrying about at the undergraduate level. If you're looking to take a later term, then that's where you look at that spring application. So you've got until December 15th for a graduate and January 1st for undergraduate. So if you're still completing coursework, it gives you time to finish out either that fall semester or the summer semester. And then you can also look forward to that summer of 2020, if that's a better timeline for you to start. You've got a May 1st deadline for graduate and a May 15th deadline for undergraduate. If you got questions about those deadlines or being able to meet any of them or have concerns, definitely follow up with me after this session and we can talk through it and make sure we come up with a plan of attack for you. Now, one of the most important pieces for students is tuition and financial aid. For fall of 2019 and going forward, now this may change, but fall of 2019 and spring of 2020 are currently set with a $474 an hour, $474 credit cost. At the graduate level, you're looking at 1039. So if you're doing your sort of shopping and you're looking at comparisons, that's going to keep you pretty similar to other regional schools. And at the graduate level, it's going to get you access to a high quality graduate program where you're going to walk out with a Tulane degree at a level that's quite a bit reduced compared to looking at either Tulane's main campus or other institutions that have that same sort of national cachet as a Research One university. For financial aid, we do offer financial aid assistance, although we don't have anything that's like this sort of directly SOPA run funding for you. Our students get that larger federal funding that they have access to. So that's federal grants, federal loans. So those pieces you get access to through that FAFSA that you complete. And then we also have a few ways that we can help to reduce that cost for people who are within that New Orleans area and part of the community of either active duty military, veterans, our teachers, or Orleans and Jefferson Parish employees. So for those of you that are working maybe for the school board, the sewer and water board, one of these related entities, City Hall, and you're looking to either top off your skills and learn a little more or move into a new role, then that's where those discounts can be really helpful because you're looking at a 20% tuition discount, which that's enough to make sure that you're not paying for books out of pocket or to where you're not using up all of your financial aid. One important piece about the financial aid is making sure you understand how you're actually going to set up all of your coursework and pay for it throughout your time at SOPA. And that's where our staff is going to be a really wonderful resource for you. Ms. Kenley Fight, who's one of our admissions associates, works very closely with students to help them understand how long do I have to actually use this financial aid, when will my financial aid run out, and how should I plan my coursework. So that's another piece of that support services that you have here where you're not really having to try to figure it out on your own. You've got people who have that benefit of experience and can help you figure out what's the best pathway for me and how can I make use of all these available resources. The last piece of that tuition and financial aid that I wanted to talk about was for our veterans and our active duty military, we also offer yellow ribbon scholarships. So for the veterans who've officially separated from their military service, you guys qualify for yellow ribbon scholarship. And what that does is it's a way for our military students to get access to funding that helps to offset any of that shortfall between what the GI Bill covers and our cost of tuition. So for you, if you're retired military, that veteran, it means you're not looking at an out-of-pocket cost. If you use that GI Bill along with your yellow ribbon scholarship, that gives you access to a high quality education without having to spend a lot of money, without having to reach deep into your pockets in order to come up with the money for this. All right, and the last piece, which we touched on a little bit earlier, is that credits for prior learning. The credits for prior learning is incredible for students at the undergraduate level. 26 credits is a fifth of your undergraduate education. You can knock out a fifth of your undergraduate education with a portfolio class that costs you $1,000 and just requires you to write about what you've done. You're basically getting to work on your memoir while cutting down your coursework. So you get that opportunity to work on your writing, to be in a course that earns you 3 credits just for taking it, and then possibly up to 26 credits. So for military people who've taken those joint services training, who've done the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Army training, all of those various pieces, that's credit that you can use. For those of you in the New Orleans area, there's a strong volunteer community here, a lot of NGOs that operate out of the city. Maybe that experience that you have volunteering or working in a support role there can be used to accelerate your time. So that way you can knock off 1 or 2 semesters, limit how much you're paying out of pocket. And maybe if you're a veteran and you're using that yellow ribbon scholarship, that's now less time in school. You've gotten credits recognized for the work you've done, and you're not paying a high out-of-pocket cost, and you're walking out with a Tulane University degree. There's no commas, there's no colons, no semicolons. It's Tulane University. So anywhere you go in this country, that is a recognized university where there is a long history of producing graduates who are ready to take on the work at a high level. Graduate students can receive up to 6 credits from that portfolio assessment. Those are going to be a little harder to access because at the graduate level, you're going to be doing more nuanced and difficult work. But if you've been in that field, you've been doing the work, and this degree is just a way for you to show it and formalize it, then that portfolio assessment is going to be a huge help for you. So that covers all of our content for today. But one thing we always make sure that we do when we run these sessions is we want to leave time for Q&A. We want to make sure that we're able to address the questions that you guys have. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that Robin discussed where you're kind of curious and want to learn more about it, then use that Q&A or chat function, and we can go ahead and touch on it now. Otherwise, we're just going to stay for a few more minutes, give everyone an opportunity to get those questions through, and then we'll close out the session. I'm going to go ahead and share the code that you'll want to use. So for joining this session with us, the app waiver code is going to be in the chat box. That's what you'll use to make sure that you're not paying a fee when you submit your application. And so if you're ordering transcripts or anything like that, this can help to reduce the cost of that, and you can instead put that money towards your transcripts or maybe buy yourself a nice lunch. But the code is going in right now, and you'll just use that. If you have any trouble, you'll be able to follow up with me directly after this, and I'll also share my contact information in the chat as well. All right, looks like we don't have anything so far. So I just want to recap on a couple of things that we talked about today. So Robin shared a really important piece there at the beginning for those of you that were paying attention. And there's 3 key letters that we need to talk about, ABA. So what Robin talked about is that our coursework here, it's set up with your larger career in mind. So if you are trying to stay in this field, you're doing coursework that's approved by one of the bodies that is essentially not necessarily regulating, but setting standards for the industry. There are people who are giving you an ability to understand what the work is going to be like, what the requirements are going to be like while you're taking your undergraduate coursework. And that's kind of rare. There aren't a lot of industries that are that closely matched with the undergraduate level. I know there's this common theme out there in education that, you're taking your undergraduate coursework, but you're having to, start working towards your own goals, that the undergraduate coursework is just a way for you to get towards your goals. With this, the undergraduate coursework and your goals can be aligned from the start. You can be taking coursework that matches what the field expects, get skills that you're going to need, and get it from faculty who work in that industry. I think that's really important. And, calling back to that is just another way for us to recognize that this program is really training students who are going to be impactful in the field. Robin, are there any final thoughts that you want to share about the program?
Well, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the ABA again, because those who are on the call, if you check job notices and you look at the requirements for paralegals and legal assistants in this area and around the country, you'll see that many require students to have graduated from an ABA approved program. And I already mentioned the reason for this: quality control, rigorous curriculum, and so on. So that, I think you're absolutely right. It's in attending an ABA approved program, you are getting the skills that are needed to the requirements of your employers from the start.
Thanks, Robin. And just to address one of the quick questions that we had in here from Terry, unfortunately, the Biloxi campus is being sundowned right now. So what that means is you will see less and less course offerings there as we continue until eventually courses will be stopped there. For students who are current Biloxi students or were. That's where you'll want to check in with the academic advisor you worked with before, or follow up with me after this session to where we can talk through those pieces. Otherwise, it looks like we covered, hold on, we may have one more question. All right, so Helen was asking us, how rigorous is the curriculum and what do we mean by a rigorous curriculum? I think Robin's going to be the best suited to answer that.
Well, our curriculum is designed to teach you the skills that you will need to succeed in the workplace. So when we cover, for example, legal research, we give you hands-on experience right away in handling Westlaw and doing legal searches on Westlaw. In legal writing, we teach you how to do legal correspondence, how to edit, how to perfect, how to make sure that what you're writing is correct in all respects. So that's what we mean by rigorous. We mean that it is tough enough to teach you what you need to know and to prepare you for the workplace that, like any other, has demands.
Thank you, Robin. So I think that addresses everything that we've had so far. What I'm doing now is I'm just dropping my contact information into the chat, and then we'll keep this live for another couple of moments. But if you have any questions, you'll want to follow up with me after this. Make sure to use that free day code so that there's no cost to you to start the application. And then if you get those more advanced questions where you really want to know about that course content, Robin's going to be a really wonderful resource for you. Robin has a benefit of experience professionally and academically, and she's going to be able to help you figure out which pathway is the best for you and how to tackle that.
Oh, and one thing I don't think I stressed enough, but you did mention it, Chris, is our faculty are all practicing attorneys or paralegals, and they are your immediate entree into the legal field. How you begin to establish from your very first semester the network that you will need to get you a job at the end. So we stress that from start to finish, knowing that you're joining us for a reason, and that's your career.
Thanks, Robin. So we're going to go ahead and close this session out. Please make sure to follow up with me at cloyd3@tulane.edu, or you can give me a call at 504-865-5333. And if you're ever in the Harahan or Uptown area, please drop by, see our campuses, get the chance to talk with us, talk with some of the other students. You can learn more about the environment. And for those of you that are joining us from somewhere else in this big wide world, then please follow up with me by email or phone, and we'll make sure that we can figure out what's the best next step for you. Thanks, everyone.